this episode of Wessex Wheels, Andrew relives his childhood, Steve relights his love for the Corsa, and I become the not-so-proud parent of two 40-year-old children.
Hello and welcome to Wessex Wheels. In this episode you'll see we've been spending some time with local Vauxhall dealers Lanehouse.
In this episode we'll be looking to the future of family cars.
But first, let's go back. And more importantly, let's go back to your past.
When it comes to old cars, we've all heard people say, my dad used to have one of those. Well, in my case, it was this. Yes, folks, my parents brought home me as a baby from the hospital in this, a Vauxhall Victor. 1972, resplendent in that magnificent shade of red. Powered by 1800cc four-cylinder engine and four-speed gearbox. 77 horsepower under the bonnet. This was motoring. As it was the 1970s, creature comfort stretched to standard fit front seat belts. They weren't compulsory in the rear, and for that matter, it wasn't compulsory to wear them in the front either. A four-speed gearbox, genuine synthetic leather upholstery, no need for head restraints. Pretty much about it. But was it a comfortable family car? Well, Mum and Dad were well catered for up front, and my three brothers all had a place on the back seat. Even the dog had its own special place, sat on the parcel shelf. But yours truly, my childhood was spent in the footwell. Shall we see if I can still do it? Well, I can just about still squeeze in. Now can I get out, please? Somebody help me out! So what's the modern equivalent? What will today's newborns be describing in 40 years' time as, my dad used to have one of those? We've been finding out.
So not quite the Duke, more like the Viscount of Hazard. Let's leave Andrew as he takes a little trip down memory lane. So at Lanehouse Vauxhall, we've got a bit of a surprise lined up for Steve, hence the blindfold. Steve, if you'd like to remove your blindfold.
Now that, if my memory serves me correctly, must be a Corsa VXR, 205 brake horsepower. Where's the keys? Where's the keys? So you join me now sat in the Vauxhall Corsa VXR. This is the top of the range sport version. Part leather seats, it's got everything you could possibly need on a car, all the gizmos, all the gadgets, and 205 brake horsepower. Now when I was a kid, if I wanted a really cool person in my family to have a car, I wanted them to have an Astra GTE or an SRI. This is the equivalent. It goes like off a shovel. It's compact, and I believe this is the car that the kids will remember you in if you buy one now. So the stats on this car, 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. It will do 143 miles an hour, and you can really feel it second to third, even when you're in fourth gear. It's got lots of pull, it really wants to go. And there's even better news if you really like the driving experience, because there's a performance pack. You get bigger alloys, bigger brakes, a limited slip diff, and it just tunes the car to give it that extra real spicy feel. This is one really fast car.
As the local constabulary catch up to Steve, let's join Andrew for a bit of a rant.
Not that I'm bitter or twisted or anything, you understand, but if I'd been growing up today instead of in the 1970s, and Mum and Dad had been car shopping at Lanehouse, they'd have almost certainly come back with something like this, the latest incarnation of Vauxhall's ever-popular Saphira range. For me, the joy of driving a large car like the Saphira that comes with a torquey diesel engine and a smooth automatic gearbox is it comes also with an elevated driving position. So all I need to do, switch on the cruise control, sit back and relax. And the key reason for the Saphira's evergreen popularity can be summed up in one simple phrase: 7 seats are standard. So if my family are watching this, please take note. Had I been growing up today, there would have been plenty of room for me, and I could have had a baby brother as well.
Well, unlike Andrew, we can't all be stuck in the 1970s. And unlike Steve, we don't all want to be chased by blue flashing lights. So what's the alternative? I've got just the answer.
So now I have the absolute privilege of driving the 7th generation Vauxhall Astra, a proper, modern family car. Unfortunately, to test a family car, I needed a little bit of help.
I want it.
No, get off, it's
Give it to
mine,
me.
it's mine,
No,
get
it's
off,
not
no,
yours.
no,
I
tell them to
bought
stop
it.
it.
It's mine.
We haven't even
It's
left
mine.
the
It's mine.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
Don't make me come back
Have you
there.
got sweets? I want sweets. I want sweets.
Sweets,
You
sweets,
kids
sweets,
are
sweets,
driving
sweets,
me
sweets.
crazy.
Oh, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. I need the loo.
Got an idea.
Now, please don't judge me, parents, but nobody should have to put up with two 40-year-old kids.
So Steve may tell you that you need a small, sporty car. Andrew might tell you that you need a very large family car. But why do either of those things? This is the best of both worlds. You've got the sportiness of a much smaller car, and if you look at the exterior as well, it just looks quite a mean racing machine. On the inside, you've got the comfort, the luxury that you'd expect to have with a family car, something a lot bigger. So in summary, if you're looking for a family car, don't go big, don't go small, go in the middle. You've got to consider the Vauxhall Astra. Unless your kids are in their 40s, then you should leave them in the showroom.
When it comes to family motoring of yesteryear, many people will have fond memories of the Vauxhall Viva. The model ran from 1963 until 1979 and was a popular choice as a family car. The name has recently been reintroduced to the Vauxhall range with this snazzy 5-door hatchback. It's designed to be a safe and comfortable place for 5 people to travel in comfort. But if we take a 1970s style approach to family transport, how many people can we put in the new Viva? I'm going to need a family to help me out, so I've decided to use the Lanehouse family. So the great news is, if you do find yourself in a Vauxhall Viva being taken back to the 1970s or in a part of the world with a very casual attitude towards vehicle overcrowding, then you can in fact get 7 people in a Viva with no problem at all.
So really, your first experience of motoring was a red Vauxhall Victor, and that one there.
Absolutely, that was our family car, the Vauxhall Victor. As you can see there, all the family loaded up, going off for our annual holiday to Bournemouth.
Good to see that they put you on the roof rack.
Yeah, I think I'm wedged underneath the surfboard there.
It would explain a lot, actually, if this was your first car, the one that you came home in, because you can see the guys in there looking pretty grumpy there. It would explain a lot, Andrew.
Well, I didn't hear any argument there. Time now for a quick pit stop to see just what Lanehouse Vauxhall have to offer. Cue salesman.
Hi, I'm Johnny, welcome to Lanehouse Vauxhall. I'm going to show you some amazing deals that we have on Vauxhalls at the moment, in particular the new Corsa. So some of the cracking deals on the Corsa. Firstly, you've got the interest-free finance up to 5 years with no deposit. So the other cracking offers we've got is £1,500 contribution to deposit and also 12 months free insurance on the limited edition Corsa. So if you fancy something a bit larger, we have our Mocha, which is in our SUV range. It's a fantastic car and it also offers some fantastic offers. It has the £3,300 deposit contribution and also 60 months interest free if you prefer. And finally, with all of our new Vauxhalls, they offer a 3-year 60,000 mile warranty and a year's free AA coverage.
Thanks, Johnny. Be good. Sorry, that's an appalling pun.
We've had a great time at Lanehouse Vauxhall, but for me the one thing that's been reinforced in my mind is that if you want a great family car that in 40 years time your kids are going to say, my dad had one of those, then you've got to go for something like a Vauxhall Saphira or a Vauxhall Insignia. Go large, it works every time.
Absolute nonsense, and you know it's nonsense, Andrew. I turn up in the VXR Corsa, everyone's going, wow, look at that car, striking colours, great body kit. The wonderful thing is you get the kids in it, they'll remember the fact that you could drive quite fast within the legal limits, but also it's just got absolute curb and cool appeal. Everyone goes, wow, I wish my dad had one of those. They're not going to say that about your car.
Get the kids in the back of it. They'll have their knees up round their ears sat in the back of a Corsa. You need to go large. Get an Insignia. There's room for them and room for their mates. That's the way forward.
Once again, you're talking nonsense, because these days small cars are big cars. There's plenty of room in the back for a couple of kids, even take car seats. You lose again.
Well, I don't know. It gets to a point on that one, though, Steve, obviously. If you've got a coupe or a soft top, something like that, you can't really fit a full family in there, at least not comfortably. That's where I'd say the Astra comes into its own, right? Because it's got the space of the large car, it's got the speed and the, you know, the sporty features of a smaller car, but it does it all. It does it all. And you've got all the luxuries that you need, sat-nav, cup holders, you know, all of that stuff that we take for granted these days. All in one go. I'd say it's the best.
Well, whilst we're going to have to agree to disagree on what car you should have, are we all in agreement on two things? One, that cars have come a huge way since the 1970s, and that in 40 years' time, our children will be talking about the cars you purchase today as, my parents used to have one of those.
Only if they bought the VXR.
Of course, Steve. And that's it from this episode of Wessex Wheels. Thank you for watching. Bye.